Have you ever noticed that building in downtown Vancouver that looks like a marine rock rising from the sea floor? Well, it's one of Vancouver's forgotten hidden gems. Although buried by the countless glass box buildings that surround it, it was actually one of the tallest skyscrapers not just in Canada, but the entire British Empire. A hidden masterpiece hiding in plain sight. And I'll cover everything from the incredible story that led to its completion, to a restaurant that's paying tribute to its past, and a chef that is serving up a culinary experience that you have to go out of your way for here just outside of the cruise ship terminal along the Vancouver waterfront. This video is sponsored by HolaFly. Let's begin. The Marine Building was one of the final architectural masterpieces constructed out of the Roaring '20s, and its story actually dates back 20 years prior. At the turn of the century, my birthplace in Winnipeg was Canada's third largest city and the center of everything in Canada. Trains were the way that everything moved, and everything went through Winnipeg, also why it earned the nickname, the Gateway to the West. That was until the United States government would fund the completion of the Panama Canal in 1914, making the need of moving goods through Winnipeg almost irrelevant, and an entrepreneur named J.W. Hobbs, this guy, recognized that the opening of the Panama Canal would greatly increase Vancouver's importance as a port city, and decided that, well, hey, the city needs a grand and iconic building, something to top the Chrysler Building that had just opened up in New York. And so March of 1929 would see a mansion torn down, and the land begin to be excavated, and construction slated to begin shortly after that. Construction would take 16 months to complete at a final cost of $2.3 million, which was actually $800,000 or 34% over budget. And the building would open to the public on October 7th of 1930, claiming the title of the tallest building not just in Vancouver, but all of Canada and the entire British Empire. And the design was considered by many to be an Art Deco masterpiece. Composed of a 10-story wing along Burrard Street, and a main tower rising 21 stories high, just shy of 100 meters tall, above a 4-story podium with a narrow setback on West Hastings Street. The design itself was intended to represent a great marine rock rising from the sea, anchored to the seabed with accents that resemble a tinted sea green and the marine life that surround it. And the idea was that at night, especially with that Vancouver misty climate, the dim silhouette would look almost like a lighthouse off in the distance. So naming it the Marine Building, it made a lot of sense. But the Great Depression had begun just before the building completed, and a big selling point was that the top floor would be an observation deck and charge 25 cents a head for admission, but it was a huge flop. Nobody had any money, and only 2 years after opening, the owner was on the verge of going belly up, and he was pretty desperate to fend off the creditors. And although he was asking $2 million for the building, he would end up settling and selling to the Guinness family for $900,000 in 1933. And that is the same Guinness family behind Guinness Beer and the completion of the Lionsgate Bridge, which you can see countless steamships pass under every single year as they come in, and historically they would dock at Pier B, and today outside Canada Place, here, right outside the Marine Building. And although I understand why the viewing deck failed because of the Great Depression, man, what a view it must have been to see the great steamships come into port with the entire waterfront in view, as you see here from the Hotel Vancouver in 1955. And since then, the Marine Building actually had multiple movies and TV shows filmed inside of it, including The Flash and Fantastic Four. And although today it's rather buried in the skyline, the building is still a testament to Vancouver's position as a sea and rail connection, and is still one of the first buildings you'll see coming in off a cruise ship in Vancouver. And considering it was appraised in 2023 for roughly $153 million, I think it's a safe bet it's here to stay.
I'm not f***ing leaving!
And located at 355 Burrard Street, if you're arriving by cruise ship into Vancouver this summer, it is an absolute must, only steps away. From the moment you arrive, you're stepping through the same doors that people did when the building opened 95 years ago. In the grand lobby, it was built to wow. From the woodworkings carved to honor the ships that were arriving on the building's doorstep in the harbor after spending weeks on the Pacific, to the various handcrafted marine life along the walls and the doors. And even this old school telephone booth, which, truth be told, I tried calling your mom back after last night, but no answer. Tried the other phone, still no answer. And believe it or not, the elevators were actually the fastest in the world upon opening, and a real treat if you've never tried them. The building even still has Royal Mail service to this day, which I've covered in my Railway Hotel series, but Essentially, 1 century ago, Canada's railways were the only way things moved across the country, from passengers to freight and Royal Mail service. So when they constructed these railway hotels, like the Hotel Vancouver just down the street, they had Royal Mail service so that you could send a letter to your loved one back home, and the daily passenger trains would pick them up, and it wasn't long before they were making it to their intended receiver. And since the Marine Building is the towering building that you see in the background of almost any retro photo of a Canadian Pacific passenger train operating only steps away at Waterfront Station, as you see here, it made complete sense to serve the Royal Mail here inside the building. Now today, the building itself is occupied by almost exclusively businesses and offices, but the real hidden gem here is the Brass Fish Tavern, hosting a modern pub menu out of this incredibly stylish parlor room and led by a chef that has been cranking out some seriously unique pub food. This is Chef Eddie, and he spent years in fine dining, but when he came here almost 2 years ago, he decided to take things in a different direction, taking some of my favorite comfort classics and serving them in a way that puts a smile on your face and your wallet. And whether it's a bowl of fries and a beer on your break from the banking district crowd at lunch, a steak for date night if you're a local, or a funky meal for the cruise ship passengers walking out of the terminal, there's no better place to be. Now, when I heard about this, it seriously piqued my curiosity, and Chef was actually nice enough to let me into his kitchen to get a glimpse. From a seafood paella composed of salmon, scallops, and prawns, Parmesan crisps, and a tempura topping, to a sticky toffee pudding glazed in miso caramel, topped with crushed pretzels and a vanilla ice cream that has been handcrafted just down the road in Falls Creek. Oh my god, I don't know if it gets any better here. I mean, these dishes absolutely blew my socks off. So, I set up a lunch date to see if they could wow my friends just as much. Now, this here is Brad. He's my +1 for lunch, and he was actually one of the goalie coaches that was a huge mentor to me during my pro hockey career, and he's got an appetite, almost as big as mine. So for lunch, we started off with these steamed pork buns and tuna over crispy rice, which was kind of like a tuna poke bowl over top of a crisp rice cake with sriracha mayo, and the pork inside the steamed buns were so rich. All in all, fantastic appetizers, and for mains, it got even better. Brad went with the chicken katsu burger and fries, which is essentially their crispy chicken sandwich. I went for something on a little bit of the lighter side with the pan-seared sable fish served in a bed of clam chowder with fresh dill, and listen, I don't know what to say. If you have never had sable fish, it is the butteriest, incredibly delicate fish, and to be honest, a perfect main for lunch. And this chowder, man, I could have literally filled up my Nike Blazer with this. I mean, it was so good, and done shots for later tonight. It was that good. It was fantastic. Easily probably the greatest lunch dish I think I've ever had in my life. And as far as Brad's chicken sandwich goes, it wasn't too far behind with that super soft bun, well-rounded slaw, and crispy chicken. It was a pretty hard one to top. Now, for desserts, they only offer 2 desserts in-house, but there's their signature sticky toffee pudding and a Vietnamese tiramisu. And the warm toffee cake and cold ice cream are just an absolute to die for combination. So simple but so tasty, and the depth of that caramel sauce with the miso pinch hitting for the salt.
Finger licking good special. That's what I'm talking about.
And the Vietnamese tiramisu is a close second, with an espresso custard with sweetened condensed milk and ladyfingers. Man, I think the only way you're going to get Brad and I out of here after lunch was to wheel us off on the dolly outside a loading dock for the food delivery guys at GFS. I mean, it was that good. And the next day, I wanted to put the dinner menu to the test and change up the lineup a little bit. So this here is Adam Bell. He's a famous Vancouver influencer, so it's nice to be graced with a local royalty for tonight. And he's been a friend of mine for 3 years, and like Brad, he's got a good appetite. And for dinner, they really transformed the place from a casual pub to a real contender for a date night spot. Now, for mains, Adam went with the spaghetti bolognese, loaded high with Parmesan cheese. I mean, it's like a whole village of Parmesan cheese on that thing. For myself, I went with the ribeye with cognac sauce, grilled asparagus, and these super thick cut French fries are so fluffy and just fantastic flavor. And listen, you can never go wrong with a ribeye steak unless you are ordering it cooked medium rare or more. Then I hate you. Order it rare or don't order it at all. And that peppercorn sauce was great. Asparagus was grilled nicely, and the chips were just perfect.
Hammer's gotta eat first, bro.
Cheers. This might be like the ultimate date night spot. Come for a burger, come for a Guinness, come for a dessert, maybe polished off.
Come for your mom.
Yeah, I brought Adam's mom over here the other day, fold her like a lawn chair. Just kidding.
Crazy intro.
This was start to finish a flawless dining experience, but the Marine Building sees a lot of foot traffic from the cruise ship terminal, But if you're traveling to Vancouver this summer, you're going to need some data and some service. And today's video sponsor, HolaFly, is exactly what you need. If you're stepping off a cruise ship in Canada this summer and you do not have data, well, you're going to feel it. And roaming with Canadian carriers will cost you an absolute arm and a leg, which is why I use HolaFly to solve this dilemma. HolaFly is a digital eSIM that gives you instant data as soon as you activate it. You install it before your trip, you activate it upon arrival, and it is that easy. HolaFly works in over 200 destinations around the world. Most plans come with unlimited data, and in Canada you only pay for what you need. And they even have a North American plan that covers Canada, the US, and Mexico, which is perfect for your cruises that hit multiple countries. And support is available 24/7 with actual real people with actual fast replies, so you know they have you covered. There's no roaming fees, no physical SIM card drama, and no panicking at the airport. And you can get a nice little discount right now on an HolaFly eSIM for your next trip when you use the code TRAVIS at checkout. That is my name, TRAVIS, at checkout, and click that first link in the description to take advantage of those savings. And trust me, I've traveled a lot of places, and having an eSIM is an absolute game changer. You can thank me later, but for now, thank you to HolaFly for sponsoring this video and making this series possible. If you have never been to Vancouver, you need to check out the Marine Building. If you're a local and you've never stepped foot inside, what are you waiting for?
What are you waiting for? Chinese New Year? Go, go, go!
A historic gem in the roaring 20s that so many forget, and a culinary experience that is hard to top, served at a price that will make your wallet absolutely smile in a city where, let's be honest, it's almost impossible to find anything reasonably priced. And I mean, they even serve Guinness beer brewed by the same family that transformed this building and the landscapes around it a century ago. But listen, I'm curious. Have you ever stopped by the Marine Building? Have you worked here? Whatever it is, leave a comment in the comment section down below because I would love to hear it. And hit that subscribe button for more videos just like this, because next week I'm taking the train out of Jasper, Alberta in the Canadian Rockies to the port city of Prince Rupert on the northern edge of the Pacific for 4 days in one of Canada's biggest hidden gem cities. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in that video. I'll see you then.